California will start us off in this segment. We've been all over the Trout scenario, and he joins us. Hello there, Michael. How are you today, pal? Okay?
Hey, Chris. Before I get to my Kawhi Leonard point, I wanted to say Ted Williams hit 388 in 1957, not 1980s, like you said on the call.
1957, but I knew he wasn't in the 80s. 1957, he hit 388, which is pretty damn good. I mean, he was 30, well, how was he, 40 years old, 38 years old when he hit the 388?
I'm not sure, but anyway.
He was born in 1917, and so in 1950, he was 40 and he hit 388. That's pretty damn good. Go ahead. You may continue.
Okay. Well, I feel like you don't like the Lakers, so a lot of times you say things that you want to happen instead of that you think will happen. When they hired Magic Johnson, you said he's not going to help them get any free agents. Free agents go where the one win championships.
Right.
Now it seems like you've given up on that one. You say he's.
Well, he hasn't gotten any free agents yet. Can he get LeBron and George? Can he get LeBron and George before we sit there and put Magic in the Hall of Fame? Can we get that?
Fine. Another thing, you're misreporting. Yesterday, Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne reporting that Kawhi Leonard met with Popovich and already told him, I'm only going to L.A. If you try to trade me to anyone else, I'm going to tell the other team I'm only signing with L.A. To me, that kills all his. They're not going to get. Nobody's going to give up anything for him. I mean, let's say the Celtics trade for him. He could just sit up next, just like he's.
You want Kawhi in L.A. with the Lakers, and you think that's going to open up the door for everybody else? I mean, you might be right. I did not hear, until I hear Pop talk or hear somebody from San Antonio talk, I got to hear him tell me, and I want to see the direct result of trading Kawhi to the Lakers, Mike. I just don't think that he is going to do the Lakers any favors and any team in the Western Conference any favors. Now, I understand if you go out there and you keep them and then you're going to lose them at the end of the year, so it does make for a tricky situation for San Antonio. I don't know. Popovich is not going to coach forever. I don't know how they're going to handle that. They're in a very tricky spot if, in fact, that relationship is not salvageable. We'll have to wait and see. Here's Mike in California. No, this is Nick in California, and he says hello, and he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Nick, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What's going on? You there? Yes? Oh, Mike. I'm sorry. Not Nick.
Mike. Orange County Mike.
Orange County Mike. My mistake. I thought it was Nick and Mike instead. Michael, how are you today, buddy? What's going on?
How are you, my friend?
Okay,
hey, Chris, I got to suggest. I really think you need a fourth hour. Knock off an hour at Torrey Canal and just start earlier. We got to have you on for 4.
I can't do 4.
By the way.
Go ahead. Now let me hear your thoughts. Go ahead.
All right.
Always looks to knock Torrey, and now he's using me to do it. Fire away. What do you have for me? Let me hear.
Hold on. I'm going to get to Trout, but I'm just going to say, I guess we're both annoyed by guys named Steve today, right? I mean,
Phillips and Torrey. Good point. Yes, indeed.
There you go. Phillips and Torrey. Hey, you know what? I was thinking about Trout. Listen, to me, I watch Trout a lot, obviously, Angel fan. The guy day in, day out is just incredible. On-base percentage, everything he does about the game, defense, etc. Signs a ton of autographs before the game, always plays with a smile on his face. Never see the guy get mad. I'm just impressed with his overall demeanor and his play. The combination is fantastic.
All right, what's your explanation for some faulty Septembers and the fact that he strikes out a ton, and I know it's a very tiny sample size, but he certainly didn't do well against Kansas City. What's your thoughts about that? We all know he's great, but he's not iconic great. What's your take on that?
He did wear down last year in September. I think it's just not having enough around him at times. And the Kansas City series wasn't good. By the way, Jerome Dyson the other night killed us again. He killed us against us in 2014. Another night he made a huge catch.
Yeah, I know he made a big catch on Upton.
Yep. Yeah, a grand slam. But you know what? Hopefully it'll be better this year. We'll see. But he's just tremendous. But you know what? We got to get more. At least you picked up a game in the standings last night.
You're more wrapped up on the Angels instead of Trout, but I get the idea. Good job for Mike. In Tampa, here's Chris. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Christopher, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What do you have?
I'm doing well, Christopher. How are you?
All right, Christopher, let me hear now. Fire away.
So I mean, I want to be careful here, and to use a word that Adam Shine likes to use. I think when you're getting devastating here as far as criticizing the current American League pitching, I think you're getting, a little caught up in hyperbole. I mean, I want to, it was brought to you. Steve Phillips made the mention that it is a different game. Okay, today.
Does Texas, let me ask you a question. Does Texas have any big, outside of Hamels, does Texas have any big-time pitching, bullpen or starters? No, they do not.
Year to year, that might change, Chris. You might remember
Right now, he faces them 19 times. Does Texas have any pitching?
You make a good argument, Chris. I'm just saying. I mean, we're not in an era here that's totally bereft of pitching. All right, let me remind you of this. Strikeout records are set every month now. Okay, these pitchers are striking out at a record pace, striking these batters out. And if you want to make the argument that batters are approaching the game differently, then great. But you're proving my argument and Steve's argument that the game has changed. Okay, and at the end of that, as an employee of University of Tampa, I do hope your son, enjoyed his first year.
He did, Chris. Good job. Do me a favor, Eddie. Go look at, look at 1939. Give me the American. Can you print up? You can just tell me when you get the microphone going. The American League in 1939. If I have my baseball encyclopedia, I do it myself. And give me the amount of. We know Feller pitched. I want to see how many Hall of Famers there were on staffs in 1939. And then I'm going to look at Hall of Famers on staffs in the American League today. If you look at Hall of Famers, and that's the only way you look at it, you got to look at it from a Hall of Fame perspective. I don't know, is there a Hall of Famer outside of Verlander? Is there a Hall of Famer in the American League West? Is Kluber, a guy is Hall of Fame talent. Outside of him, is there anybody else who's halfway decent in the American League Central? And in the American League East, we have Sale, we have, to a certain degree, Severino. Is there anybody else? I mean, literally, we have three really good big-time pitchers in baseball right now in the American League who face Trout on a day-in, day-out basis. In the 1939 season, I want to look at the Red Sox. I want to look at a lot of bad teams, so who knows? The A's, the Browns, the Tigers, the Indians, and let me see how many Hall of Famers I can come up with. And I probably know most of them without just by looking at the names. So here is Bob in Pennsylvania, and he's aboard. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Robert, good afternoon. How are you today?
Great. Hey, I got a couple of Trout things. So remember when he won the MVP a few years ago, and probably Beth should have gotten it?
Yes. Of course, 2 years ago, whatever year it was. I sure do. Go ahead.
I remember reading an article. It was near the end of the season where a sports writer actually apologized for Trout not having more RBIs because there were guys not on base in front of him. And that's when I knew he was going to win the MVP, because he's the darling. So there's an incredible pro-Trout bias.
Yeah, there's a statistical, there's a sabermetric young writer pro-Trout bias. They look at the numbers and they say, this guy, how can we not vote for him in the Hall of Fame? I get that. Yes.
So Buster only had an article, about 3 weeks ago, right? Where he made an argument that Trout was having the greatest season
I read
ever. It was all based on WAR. And it was, at the time, he wasn't even hitting 300, and Betts was hitting like 350 with more home runs. And you know what? And I think it was on your show. Some guy came on and actually made the argument that Mike Mussina had better years than Sandy Koufax, using some ridiculous statistical analysis. I mean, oh my God. Really? Mike Mussina better than Sandy Koufax?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
crazy.
Strong. Yeah, a little strong.
And so
people do fall in love with Trout. They love the statistical angle. I read the Buster. I know Buster only wrote that, and you're 1,000% correct. Go ahead. What else you have for me?
Well, first of all, Felix Hernandez, maybe Hall of Fame pitcher?
Not now. No, he's not making it. He's not making the Hall of Fame. Not based on the last 2 or 3 years. He's not going to make the Hall of Fame.
I just think it should be an award kind of like in hockey. Hockey has the Most Valuable Player award, and I forget the name of it. One's the Adams Award. I think one's the Hart, and one is the best player. Okay, and that's what you need, because I remember I think Ripken got it over Cecil Fielder one year when Cecil Fielder had all those home runs and RBIs, and they won. And maybe you just need another award. The guy who really means the most to this team, the guy who's just the greatest in terms of pure numbers.
Yeah, and listen, nobody's arguing Trout's greatness. What we are arguing is that they put Trout, they are the onlys of the world, they put him on a historical level, which to me is insulting. You cannot put Trout with the iconic player. He has done nothing in his career that separates him. He hasn't won a Triple Crown. Cabrera has. Mantle did. He didn't hit in 56 straight games. And don't let me hear about these pitchers. That's a bunch of nonsense. 56 straight games? I mean, come on now. 56 in a row. How come nobody else in those days hit in 56 games in a row? How come everybody else who faced the same pitchers DiMaggio did, how come nobody came close to hitting 56 consecutive games? I mean, Williams, 406. Let me see some of that numbers for Trout before we go crazy. Let me see something, and let me see him carry a team in October. And I've seen some of the all-time. I saw Bonds do it. Let me see Trout do that. 13 in front of the hour. Continuing on Mad Dog Unleashed.